think this is something that's always very interesting for people to hear. Also, maybe a little bit beyond the kind of typical, as I mentioned, SpaceX, Blue Origin, etc. So the Mars mission is kind of one of the main things that gets, I think, a lot of the hype cycle, right? Most of the media attention, most people that aren't really paying attention to the space economy focus on things like that, the kind of bigger news. But I think as you're more entrenched in the industry, maybe could you touch on some of the things that are exciting you for the next maybe 5-10 years that maybe some of us haven't heard of before? Kind of like the larger projects that are coming out.
Yeah. So Mars project, or it's fantastic. A lot of technologies are going to come out of all these missions that we're planning to go to Mars and beyond. But to take a step back and focus on what is important to us today, I want to talk about Earth orbit. Most people, when they talk about Earth orbit or space in general, they believe that it's an unlimited kind of resource that we have. But the reality is that the usable Earth orbit or orbital environment is a couple hundred kilometers above Earth. Obviously, we have geostationary satellites that are further out. But most of the technologies that we rely on are much closer to Earth, and it's a very finite, it's a very limited amount of kind of space around us, or orbit around Earth. And so we have satellites that are supporting trillion-dollar industries here on Earth. So think about global supply chain, think about GPS, think about communication, entertainment, agriculture, defense. Our everyday life, our modern life is dependent on space, basically continuously, 24/7. Right? And there are a couple of problems that we're facing today, and these problems are going to kind of grow as we launch more satellites into space, that are threatening the sustainability in Earth orbit, which is indirectly threatening the way we live our lives today. Right. And that is what's exciting the most today, because it is a problem that exists. It is a problem that is directly affecting our lives today. And we're focused on addressing the issues in Earth orbit or orbital environment. Just to put it in perspective, in the first 6-7 decades of space age, right, old space age, since 1960s, until recently, we had launched about 8,000 satellites, give or take. 2,000 of which are still operational. 6,000 have either kind of decommissioned, still in orbit, or they've turned to debris, or they've come down to Earth or burnt in the atmosphere. Just in 2020 to 2021 timeframe, SpaceX alone has launched 1,400 satellites, right? So they've become the largest satellite operator in the world within a year and a half. Now, if you look at the forecast, we're planning on launching somewhere between 40 to 60,000 satellites in the next decade. You have mega constellations. If you just look at the planned ones, Amazon Kuiper, you have OneWeb, you have the China's mega constellation that was just announced. You have the SpaceX's Starlink, and the space around Earth is getting congested as we launch more satellites. So if we stop launching a single satellite today, we would still be in trouble, because Earth orbit has a carrying capacity, and per recent estimates, 95% of that is already taken by space debris or space junk. So just that is the problem that we're really excited about, and we're trying to bring the technology that will help kind of guarantee that we'll have a sustainable orbital environment around Earth for the next generations to come.